February 1984, American publisher Malcolm Forbes led a goodwill tour to demonstrate friendship between the peoples of Egypt and the United States. Among the largest objects made by man, the Great Pyramid of the Pharaoh Cheops, built 2,500 years before the birth of Christ. Nearby, the pyramid of the Pharaoh Khephren, the son of Cheops, built slightly smaller out of respect for his father.
Here we are. What do they call those scarabs? Those beetles? S-C-A-R-A-B. It's a symbol of Egypt, really.
And a little further away, a half a dozen smaller pyramids clustered around a statue which has captured the imagination of the world since it was built 4,500 years ago. The Sphinx also inspired Malcolm Forbes, who brought with him to Egypt a hot air balloon in the same size and shape.
What do you think? It's got room enough from where you're standing to here. And then we got the Sphinx right there, the other Sphinx. Look, see the flags? Well, now down here, we definitely get far less wind. I think you can inflate here, and if we get it up, we have to give the authorities a ride in the Sphinx. And the first time in 5,000 years anybody had a ride in the Sphinx.
Hi, Ahmed Talagad. Welcome for this festival in Egypt.
Very good.
Now this is precisely, it has to tick on second by second, no soft spot, no people running around. Everything has to tick on like a clock. Okay?
Testing, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7.
But they told me yesterday that everything will be finished. And they will finish it.
Yeah, no, listen, that's wonderful. The only thing you didn't finish is the wind.
Yeah, I know that. But they didn't told us about the place exactly before.
The area is fine, beautiful if there's no wind.
But you would prefer that.
But if there's wind, we will go up there and see if we would be out of the wind.
Yes. Looks real narrow. I think we can try to get the truck in there, but if we take 2 little jeeps in there, maybe we can put the balloon on a little cart like that. Put the balloon here?
Please, if it's going to be complicated, then there's just not going to be any balloon sent. Limit your request to the absolute minimum, because anything now is bordering on the impossible.
The Sphinx balloon is as large and unique as its namesake. It starts as 600 pounds of yellow nylon in a tidy blue bag. But when inflated, it will be over 6 stories high and 131 feet long from paw to tail. The launch at Giza was the opening ceremony of the Forbes Festival Tour. It was also the first time any of the Americans had attempted to fly the enormous balloon.
Mr. Forbes, ladies and gentlemen, right up through there.
Who speaks English?
The name of the peoples of Giza.
What's that English?
Here holding very access to the well. There is a very important thing which led you to this land. You will convey to your people that you have met such peoples who are ready to do all their best for humanity and for man everywhere. This Sphinx alone, when it flies, it will wait for world peace.
Here's the year.
The Sphinx balloon comes on a personal, individual basis, not as anything official. Everybody will say, that's just that crazy American. But I come to you, I hope, not as a crazy American, but as one full of friendship.
I get involved in the trip. I'm number 2 son, that's how. The easiest way was to get born into it, as my dad would say. Egypt has always fascinated me. Pictures of the pyramids, pharaohs, things that are strange, fun. It lured me. But this is different. I don't think too many tour buses come through looking like we do. Pull into town, balloon goes up. People come and look at these strange Americans running around in red shirts and yellow pants. We're a road show. We're a traveling circus here. We're a festival.
Although there were expert balloonists on the team, it is no mean feat to inflate such an unusually shaped balloon. And now there was a complication. The old enemy of even the most ordinary balloon, a bracing wind.
I think we're going to have to wait till tomorrow morning. When there's less wind, 6 o'clock. Yeah. Even in a high wind, it at least took shape, not as we expected to tomorrow morning. I'm pleased it got up enough so that people can see it is a Sphinx.
Few people have developed the idea of fun to the extent my father has. Many people ask, what are you here for? What are you going to get out of it? When the answer is a personal sense of fun, there's a great resistance to that idea. It just seems too simple. Of course, to Egyptians, this is a political statement, even though we are individuals and not representatives of the government. By coming here, we're trying to demonstrate the friendship of America for Egypt. What I think is difficult for both Americans and Egyptians to understand is that an individual, a wealthy American, would take it upon himself to spend a small fortune to undertake such an enterprise. But they don't know my father, perhaps.
4,500 years since an unknown Egyptian king erected the great Sphinx of Egypt, so there's probably not too much the Sphinx hasn't seen. Enter Malcolm Forbes, the publisher of Forbes magazine. Mr. Forbes is in Egypt on a goodwill visit. For this occasion, he commissioned a very special balloon. It cost $75,000 to build. On Saturday, high winds prevented the hot air Sphinx from getting a paw off the ground. But on Sunday, the Sphinx was airborne. The balloon rose to a height of 50 yards and stayed aloft for about 10 minutes. The great Sphinx, true to form, remained inscrutably Sphinx-like through the whole affair.
Great happiness that our salute is working. It's working as we hope. It's got a good spirit to it. I think it engenders a good spirit, and that's the whole point. And we're having fun doing it, and that's quite an important point, too.
Before starting up the Nile, the expedition was routed to the ancient Mediterranean port city of Alexandria.
We figured that Cairo shouldn't be the only place with the Sphinx. First time, not to Egypt, to Alexandria. You got her. Watch your own!
نبني ونحولها لنا بالعمار والأمل ضليلة فوقنا وكل إيد فينا رجلك كاملة علينا ومصر اليوم مصر اليوم الكلام مش وقته خالص العمل هو المفيد فينا رجعت كاملة لينا ومصر اليوم
We treasure the friendship between the American people and the Egyptian people, and this balloon is a good way for everybody to smile, enjoy, and be happy among friends interested in peace.
A smile brought to a face is not a big thing. It's a little thing and it's transient. There is this tendency to belittle the value of that smile, and I think that's a mistake.
Feels like my leg's broken. Feels like about 4 people on it.
There is a real value. A smile's not a trivial thing.
That is one of the 7 wonders, the lighthouse of Alexandria. And before I leave it, I must light it for you.
Slightly.
Yeah. That's it, I think.
To be in Alexandria, when you consider that it was founded so long ago by Alexander the Great, all I can say is you also are very great.
The Egyptians seemed as eager to put on a good show as the Americans, whether it was Boy Scouts or Air Scouts. Everyone joined enthusiastically into the spirit of the festival. They even included a stop at the Sportif Club, a school and training center for the handicapped.
Sportive Club at Tanta is one of the more impressionable things we'll see on the trip, simply because what you got is a lot of kids doing things that they are capable of doing with their limited capabilities. Obviously, the love and affection that's been given these people has given them a chance to get ahead. The fact that the tourism ministry would take us there says to me that they're proud of what these kids can do. And here's a chance for these kids to have some fun, become part of the festival.
Riding in the back's a lot easier than riding in the front. You just sit there and wave. I have very heavy waving duties. It's just, that momentary communication that even in a wave, it's just a second, but you can get the genuine zap of energy that's just transferred from that. You're getting something of them that's really significant. I go for the difficult cases, the guys in the distant field. I wave to a couple trees, some camels, and Tim's the persistent waver who just won't let up until someone waves back. And I've seen Tim waving to an empty field, and I just keep looking. There must be someone out there. For a lot of these people, that road is like their TV, their day's entertainment. And I guess the Harleys coming by is like Star Wars, it's just something special.
You have to be close. You have to ride close. You have to ride as much as you can. You have to ride very close. When you ride behind somebody and they go in a hole and they're all over the road, you don't have any time to react. We've got to be a little further apart, in fact.
I'm the one who's slowing it up. I'm on the tail. Because by then everyone's seen what's going on and you get all the waves.
Yeah.
Return.
Thought it'd be people standing in line to see the boy king. How to get the monkey? Then you do the monkey. All in Arizona, move to Babylonia, big Married with a donkey.
Rudolph.
He's my favorite honky. All in
Dancing by the night.
I'm not going to try drinking any of it. Mix a little fish. He ate a crocodile. He gave his life for tourism. The waving is not to be underestimated here as a way of getting through to people, because you're just gone in a second, you just flashed by, that's it. But in that second, it sounds unlikely, but you make a real contact with people.
What was happening a little bit is when I would shake a hand and the bike was moving, some of these kids would tug at my hand. Friendly, then you could go flying off.
The damn thing blows up.
The balloon's interesting because it starts out in this beautifully kind of procedural manner. The bureaucrats, if you like, are standing around. The experts in the balloon are there, and they spread it out in the right way and put in the air, and then they put in the hot air. And then, of course, you do this extraordinary thing. You fly the balloon, and it just goes up in the sky. It just floats away, and everybody on the ground's kind of astonished. And no wonder it stimulates excitement, and you're part of it, because it's very moving.
High, high in the sky! 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 High, high in the sky!
Well, this whole conference straight away it's a joke when we get it right. I don't mind getting up early, but it's a bit wearying, but wearying in a good way. We're getting the country in, and it's a routine, but it's a nice routine. And balloons gotten easy and easy to fly. A system has evolved whereby we each run and do certain things with the balloon. I'll go in and work on inflating the paws and the hindquarters. Kip and Denny will go and tie up the basket. Bob will take photographs of it. Tim will be sort of an all-purpose man, frowning and fretting, and if things go real well, just frowning and fretting a little. And so we all sort of have our place there, you know.
البنداس صباح محتاس ما صرت بقول يا ناس ما بيسكيلوز بكل ملبوس ألفته خلاص استغلوا في ايه يا بني يا بيه ما دام الوقت مريب ما بس تحييس ما بس قاويس وبيته خلاص كأنه رؤوس فرستي دنيا لساتي بدي كأنه رؤوس فرستي دنيا لساتي بدي أيام العيسى بنيته خلاص
It's St. Mary's Church. It became historically important in the 1st century when the Holy Family, Mother Mary, Child Jesus, and Joseph, when they escaped from the land of Israel and came to Egypt. This was one of the places where they stayed for a while.
885 kilometers up the Nile, the expedition reached Luxor, legendary capital of Middle Kingdom Egypt. Here are the finds from the temples of Karnak and Luxor, the Valley of the Kings, the tomb of King Tutankhamun. From the vast treasure unearthed here, only the very best is displayed in the Luxor Museum.
It's beautiful. It is. What stone is that carved from?
Basalt.
Basalt.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Look at the exquisite shape of the statue. The nose, the eyes.
It's exquisite.
The full beard. It is 18th dynasty, a time in ancient Egypt when the arts had reached their peak. And this piece is Amino piece, the port.
How long ago was it discovered?
It is 3,400 years old.
Wow.
They discovered this stone buried in an irrigation canal. And look, for all those years, barely a crack. Here we see a crocodile, symbol of the river Nile.
Is the black face represents the fertile land?
Yeah.
That's fascinating. The original color?
Yes, original color.
This, yes.
Yeah.
That's extraordinary. Preservation.
The sky over Luxor, having looked down on so many ancient marvels, was chosen to be the location of a modern marvel, the first free flight of the Sphinx. To help celebrate the event, a second balloon, the Astrid, was also sent aloft.
Absolutely a delight. Absolutely a delight. The whole city, you can hear sort of a quiet roar of sheer enthusiasm.
It's wonderful, splendor, view to see from there. Landing is very wonderful, easy as you get off of a car after a very nice journey with your family.
It's okay for me, this belong. It's okay, why not?
We thought we were in a field of weeds, and I couldn't understand why every kid was running up with 2 or 3 carrots. I couldn't understand why. It turned out it was a carrot patch. Normally, they're not allowed to raid the fields, and all the kids were walking around like they were eating good humors. But we've made happy peace with the farmer. He was very nice about it. At first, he was apoplectic. Then when we offered to pay for the damage, he said no, he was proud to have the friendship balloon land on Egyptian soil.
Just across the river, from the pillars of Luxor Temple, the Valley of the Kings, where some of Egypt's most famous tombs are located, including King Tutankhamun's. In scenes painted along the corridors and in the underground chambers, the daily life of Egypt of thousands of years ago lives on. Every conceivable activity of man and God is chronicled so that the pharaoh would not be alone in the afterlife.
Man's first civilization seemed to, at least to my eyes, my understanding, to have been sparked by a great awareness of the overpowering and oppressive presence of death, of mortality, that this recognition of mortality sparked the first human civilization. I find that overpowering.
I've explained to my sons they don't need to dig a hole like this for me. He gave his life for tourism.
There, beautiful, beautiful.
An island in the river near Aswan was chosen to be the place for the second free flight. Unfortunately, if a balloon is launched from an island, there is only one danger greater than too much wind. No wind at all.
And I hope there's just enough air to move us somewhere.
I think rope on a barge and pull us over to one side or the other.
Yeah, but they pull you too fast, they pull you right down in the water. I wouldn't secure the line on the basket too heavy. I think I ought to go get my knife, in case I got to cut myself loose.
we come down, Bobby, you get in the balloon with us and we'll float across the river.
Free flying over Aswan was not something I had planned on doing. If I'd reflected too long on it, I probably would have thought better of it. Here we are sitting in the middle of an island, north and south of us, Nile River, full of crocodiles. After that, desert everywhere. So off we fly, up over the city, waving to the people below, snapping away madly. Suddenly everything is calm again. All the tension and the pressures are past.
If we can get to the other side and even just get a taxi cab.
What happened to him?
Nothing happened. They just got across the river, so we don't need a speedboat. We need a car now.
But the ferry appears to be not.
Well, the ferry is off duty.
But without the ferry,
we'll get across.
well, we'll
get
still
them
need
back.
the trucks across eventually.
That's very true.
And before tomorrow morning, when the ferry's going to start again. So we're going to have to get the ferry started some way or another. We can single time. It's the same.
I assume that we're finding the.
Here comes the ferry, right? We're in business.
Okay.
The chase is more exciting than the balloon.
It is.
Ways
The
in which
chase
to
is.
screw up the chases, you know. Bert, move back, Barry. What happens in the chases? You were just part of a huge procession of humanity, all of which have been stimulated by this completely unexpected development. The balloon is one of the few things really that can bring about that sudden, enormous, spontaneous movement of people.
There's the village they were talking about. I think it's a cemetery.
Then when it comes down, there's a chaos of people being required to relate to something they've never seen before in their lives. It's such a kind of expression of how people really are because they can't prepare for that. They can't sit around saying, what will it be like if a balloon like the Sphinx lands on the top of the hill? What will we do? It's like a can opener. It opens up all these different aspects of Egyptian life and manners and attitudes, and as such, it really is a unique event.
Ancient Egypt was an African kingdom. The Arab people are relative newcomers, arriving as recently as 500 AD. Here, far up the Nile, the African roots of Egypt can be seen in the people and in the folk culture.
The unfinished obelisk is about 15 centuries BC. The ancient Egyptians tried to cut a big block of stone at an obelisk and moved it to Luxor, but during their cutting it cracked at a point. They tried to cut a short one from the same obelisk, but it cracked again, so they had to leave it and cut another one. To test the physical quality of the stone, they used to cut 2 deep holes. If they found it's okay, they started digging small holes all around the obelisk to give the obelisk its form. Then wedge dry sycamore wood in those holes, then they wet the wood, which expand and split the rock up.
The Aswan High Dam, completed 20 years ago, changed forever the life of the river. The yearly flood of the Nile beyond its banks was at last brought under control.
Longest one way to floor.
There's an eerie silence out there that's very satisfying when you're on a motorcycle. Getting away from the Nile Valley, the congestion, the traffic. You get out into some of these roads, the stillness makes you feel very much at one with your machine. It's quite enchanting. I think if we had some of these areas in the U.S., we would immediately turn them into national parks. They're so beautiful.
I would like to present this memento to Mr. Forbes.
the governor before said to me, if we had seen your balloon when I was in charge of air defense, my mission would have been to shoot it down.
Yeah.
I said to him, I hope he has trained a very poor successor, because he is going to fly with me this afternoon.
We are finding out what Egyptians think of Americans. The feeling seems to be very friendly, very pro-American, which made me feel good. I was happy to say to them, yes, here we are, we're a bunch of Americans over here saying hi.
Gonna get you.
It's almost a shame to roll it up. The children enjoy it so much, jumping on it and squashing it.
All right, you want to be on television?
They know we're doing it to put it away, obviously, but it's the only balloon they'll ever jump on, so they're going to make the most of it.
A final flight in Cairo would be splendid. The people of Cairo should see the Sphinx as a farewell voyage. Well, after all, that's where a lot of Egyptians live.
It's almost a shame when it's gone. You know, the last sort of few big bubbles are squashed out and it's put in the bag. It'd be nice if it could stay there for a couple of days for them all to feel it and roll about on it. But
Small school. Oh, elementary school.
Yeah, no English.
No English?
Yeah.
Well, no Arabic. Your teachers looked like very serious teachers, so the children, I'm sure, were happy for an excuse to be out of classes for 1 hour.
Flipping the clutch and your rear wheel sinks in, so you gotta keep going. Hey, old Englishman, how are you doing?
back and knock all right, Kate? Yeah, no problem. I'll knock my window. Okay. No problem. I had the wind on my back and knocked my window. Okay. I have lost most of my boot. I'll let Robert take over now. Drive carefully, Robert. I saw this road and I thought it must be a mirage. It's hard top. Okay, Robert, you take her on in.
Mount Sinai, whose rugged face looks down onto a spot sacred to Muslims, Christians, and Jews, the site of the burning bush.
This is where it is alleged that God spoke to Moses in this spot. God asked him to take his shoes off, that he is now in the Holy Valley, or the Sacred Valley. The bush, which is reported in the holy books, that it was a fire when God spoke to Moses.
1984, we took a little trip along with the boss through ancient Egypt. Took 7 Harleys and 2 balloons, and we flew the mighty Sphinx high above the tombs. Well, we rode our Harleys and the balloons kept on flying up the river Nile and across the Sinai. The wind blew hard, but the boss kept on trying up the Suez and down the other side.
Cairo, last stop. The end of a 2,300-mile journey. Although it would be hazardous to fly over the city, the team wanted one last free flight before turning homeward, to say farewell to the nation which had received them so warmly.
A couple of months ago, he spoke in Cedar Rapids.
He did to a group of business.
Right.
Group.
I enjoy your exploits in ballooning. I guess that's what you're doing today.
Well, we hope. Yeah, we hope to fly the Sphinx.
We fly a plane, but not a balloon.
Oh, well, you have to know what you're doing. In a balloon, it's much easier.
To test the air for the Sphinx's final Egyptian flight, the Astrid was sent aloft.
Came down so hard, it was like being on a roller coaster there. At one time, I felt my stomach going up.
You can see the wind is too shifty, too dangerous. I think we will try tomorrow morning.
Early in the morning, it can be better.
We'll be here at 6 and find out.
Even presidents take time out for a festival which has been a major manifestation of Egyptian-American friendship, and to chat about these curious balloons before entering into a more serious discussion of Egyptian-American relations and Middle East problems.
To bring 7 Harley-Davidson motorcycles and 2 balloons, a great many people at the opening press conference wondered, what are these nuts really up to? By tonight, I feel that we come away feeling we have a message to take home as Egyptians and Americans, as friends who face together vast problems. There's no problems we can't solve. Thank you.